Hello, and welcome to the Irresistible Marketing Pod, the podcast that wants you to seriously, please stop settling in your business. I'm your host, Isa Gauchi, your marketing confidence cheerleader and owner of the Isa Messaging digital marketing agency for small business baddies and personal brand rebels such as yourself. But wait. You gotta slow your roll, babe, because I'm pretty sure you're skipping some steps before you can even know whether or not you're settling in your business. Here are those steps. Step 1, learn how to be present. Step 2, clarify your vision. Step 3, have boundaries with others. And step 4, have boundaries with yourself. Now, I'm about to spill the deets on all of this, so stay tuned. So the reason we care, I can honestly tell you that the number one mistake that has landed me in hot water in my business is settling. Settling for unaligned projects for the money, unaligned clients for the money, too tight timelines because I thought I had to for the money, working in the morning because I thought I had to for the money, even though I am staunchly not a morning person and decidedly most definitely a night owl as I record this podcast after 9 p.m. at night. Settling also showed up for me as doing what other people advised me to do that went against what I knew was right for me and my business. Again, for the money. Also not taking any time off when I was scared about money. But funnily enough, as much as I did all of this for the money, these turned out to actually not be the financially responsible decisions and not the decisions that brought me the money that I craved. Because it kept me on the scarcity hamster wheel because I had so much client work, I had no time for marketing my own business. So as soon as I got done with one client project, I'd be in a panic on how to secure the next one, which meant I was constantly burnt out AF, which led to a lot of procrastination on the projects I actually had sold, which then led to me keep on getting sick or having chronic pain flare-ups, which kept me from working and had me sending deliverables in later than I wanted to. And I wasn't having fun. And the mismatch in clients and projects and my values kept spiking my anxiety and stress. And there was just never a time I felt safe enough to stop, rest, and reflect, which kept me on the aforementioned scarcity hamster wheel in perpetuity. But when I finally realized something had to change and realized that there is a much better way, things got better. And there is a much better way, and it's to stop settling for less than what you really want. Sounds simple, but in practice, much harder. Let me walk you through it. Let's start with step 1 of being present, because to stop settling, you have to know what you really want. And to know what you really want, you have to know what it feels like to want, beyond just what you don't want, or what you can survive at a level of discomfort that you know you can handle. These are very, very different things than simply just wanting. They feel different physically. The experience of wanting versus not wanting versus settling, they all feel really different in your body. You might literally feel it in different places in your body. It might feel like a different quality or texture. They certainly all feel different emotionally, and they certainly all affect your energy very differently. And you won't notice any of these differences. You won't be able to identify which is which unless you are regularly present in your body, unless you have regular time with yourself to process your emotions, unless you give yourself space to connect with what you do want. And you won't get this clarity if you spend your life mostly dissociated, as many of us trauma survivors do by default before we do the healing work to develop other coping mechanisms. This healing work tends to benefit from a lot of support, as it requires us to delve into our shadows and the uncomfortable emotions and trauma baggage that we have been understandably trying to numb out from for so long. And that is why I'm a huge advocate for therapy from a qualified mental health professional, in addition to supportive communities and mentors in business. I think every entrepreneur should be in therapy. I think every entrepreneur should have one or several mentors. I think every entrepreneur should have community support because this shit is hard. But healing is so much harder in environments where you do not feel safe, where you feel like the person you're confiding in or leaning on doesn't get you, doesn't have your values in common, doesn't believe in the possibility of you getting what you want, or maybe even doesn't want you to get what you want. It's really hard to heal when that is your emotional support. So, it is important to seek support from folks who share your values, treat your vulnerability with the care that it deserves, respect your autonomy, your agency, and your judgment about what is best for you, because literally no one knows better than you what is best for you. It's important to seek support from folks who put you at ease and who will hold you lovingly accountable to your vision for your business and for your life, so that they can check you if they notice you settling before you notice it yourself. But ultimately, only you can grant yourself presence with yourself. And that's why I advocate so heavily for my marketing confidence cheerleading clients to cultivate routines and regular practices for them to check in with themselves, feel their feelings, and assess whether they need to shift anything in their work and their business to better align with their true desires. My personal practices for this include meditation, yoga, tarot and oracle cards, journaling, long walks with my dog, walking out on the jetty and spending time staring out into the sea in perfect silence, doing a feeling scan as I drive somewhere. How do I feel? Name that emotion. Why do I feel that way? Now, this is what works for me, but you will have to experiment a bit to find what works best for you. And I recommend, if you're new to this practice or you've tried things like meditation and journaling but haven't really been able to make it a regular part of your schedule, especially if that's because it brings up some anxiety or some uncomfortable emotions, so you find yourself avoiding it, start small. Start simply and accessibly. Start with something you can actually picture yourself really doing every day. For example, one of my beloved squad members, I gave her the homework assignment to simply set 2 minutes a day where she doesn't have music or a podcast on and she's just with her thoughts. And it's okay if she's like formally meditating, but it's also great if she's doing that while washing her dishes or folding her laundry or cleaning her house. Just 2 minutes a day to feel what she's got going on, feel how she's feeling. Just 2 minutes a day to be with herself. And if that's where you are right now, fantastic. I bet you will find this a really beautiful practice where you will get a lot of insight, where you will get a lot of clarity, where next steps will become clear where they weren't before, where you'll have that realization, oh, this isn't working for me. I need to do something else. Or, oh, this other thing I've been doing, I love this. I need more of it in my life. This is so, so important. So, step 2 for stopping settling in your business is to have a clear vision, a big picture vision for what you want from your business. We want clarity on the work that you want to be doing, that you want to continue doing into the future. We want clarity on for whom you want to be doing this work. Who do you want to serve? Who do you want to benefit? At what price point? At what profit? Monthly? Annually? How often do you want to be working? How many clients do you want at a time? Many projects do you want at a time? How many people do you want in your membership or your group program? Under what terms and conditions? And in balance and accommodation with what other XYZ parts of your life? When and only when you have clarity on these things, then you will be able to tell whether or not you are settling in your business, because you'll be able to see the disparity between what you want and what you're accepting, if that is the current case. And if you notice there is a disparity between what you're doing, what you're accepting, and what you want, then you get to protect your vision with boundaries. So, the good news is you can bake boundaries into your business. You can set up your offers, your pricing, your systems, your customer care, your sales mechanisms, your marketing to communicate firmly, respectfully, lovingly, clearly, confidently what your boundaries are, so it can handle a lot of that for you without you having to personally enforce them a lot yourself. I mean, it can't fully handle all your boundaries for you, but it can do a lot of the work for you. For example, some important business boundaries you need to protect your big picture vision are pricing, so that you can happily provide your best work rather than resenting your clients. And it goes along with that, allowing price to disqualify some potential clients rather than underpricing and setting yourself up for burnout and money stress. And before you tell me, but I wanted this work to be accessible, I got to remind you, the first rule of accessibility is having it available to access at all. And if you have no funding for your work, you cannot continue to provide it or have anyone access it at all long term. Whereas if you have sufficient funding, generous, good funding, if you're pricing it well, you can do things like easily offer scholarships. You can set up funds. You can have longer payment plans without it harming your ability to keep offering the work. More business boundaries that you will need to implement in order to protect your big picture vision are making sure you are protecting the scope of your work, the scope of your projects, what you are willing to offer, with things like detailed, specific contracts, terms of use, disclaimers, etc. Policies in place to protect how much work you are willing to do at that price point. You will also need to get good at not automatically saying yes to client asks before you've had a chance to feel out whether you A, actually want to do it, B, if you need to charge more in order to do it, or C, whether you have capacity now, and if not, when you will have capacity. And be able to communicate all of that to the client making the ask. You will also need to know who your ideal client is and design and direct your marketing only to them. We're not trying to appeal to everyone. You will also need to be willing to fire a client if they are making unreasonable demands, clash with your values, disturbing the safety of your group membership, disrespecting your boundaries or your members' boundaries, or harming yours or anyone's in your circle that you are in charge of protecting if they are harming their well-being. You will also need to be able to block time off in your schedule so clients can't book you when you're having downtime, days off, or they can't book you at hours when you aren't ready to be focused and engaged. So if you, like me, are a night owl, you're not a morning person, you should not have your calendar set so they can book you at 6 a.m. You will also need the confidence and the self-assuredness to be able to unfollow anyone who drains your energy. Trolls, yes. Haters, yes, of course. But not just the haters, but also folks you admire or who trigger some sort of internal compare and despair spiral for you that interferes with your creativity, your enthusiasm, your willingness to show up for your business. You get to unfollow those folks too. No disrespect. It doesn't mean we don't love them. We still do. But we are protecting our big picture vision and our ability to take aligned action to get that big picture vision. And so we are not letting anything, even our own mind drama, get in the way of that. So we are implementing boundaries to protect our mental health, our well-being, our focus, even if it means unfollowing people we look up to, people we're a little jealous of. So, as I mentioned before, your business can be set up to largely establish and enforce these boundaries for you via your offer suite, what you have available to buy, your pricing models, how folks can and cannot contact you and access your work. There are people out there who offer no sales calls. There are people out there who charge a premium just to talk to them in the first place. You get to find out what works for you and do that. Your scheduler can establish times you are available and are not available. And no, you do not need to make yourself available at all times to get clients. Not necessary. You will need to have contracts, terms of use, disclaimers, and other policies in place to protect you, to protect your vision, to protect what you are and are not willing to do, and the sanctity of your work and your ability to provide it at the very best you can have on offer. Your marketing and who you address it to can also establish your boundaries for you. Now, doing this stuff, this is where it is so helpful to have mentorship to help you navigate your blind spots and weave protection into your systems, your offers, your pricing, your marketing, and sales processes. So even if you are not a recovering people pleaser like me, like myself, this stuff is hardly common sense or common knowledge. Like this building boundaries into your business, new stuff. It goes against a lot of old accepted wisdom, like the customer is always right, or 9 to 5 is the way it has to be, etc., etc., etc. Now, a good mentor can spare you a lot of having to learn the hard way what boundaries are necessary for you. For you, all of our boundaries are personal and depend on our circumstances, our wiring, especially us neurospices out there. And we have to be able to have the confidence to give ourselves permission to have our own boundaries, not boundaries given to us or by someone else or necessarily modeled by someone else that you're allowed to have boundaries like this. We have to be able to find our own boundaries and enforce them regardless of what someone else's opinions about our boundaries are. Now, I think this leads into it a bit. We don't just need boundaries with other people to stop settling in our business. We really, really, really need boundaries with ourselves as well. Because if you, like me, are struggling to replace default people-pleasing tendencies with empowered intentional actions, we're going to need to be able to check ourselves, our habits, our default patterns, our ways we have been taught to relate to people and stay safe and do business and make money. We're going to have to interrupt some of these old patterns and replace them with new ones. For instance, resisting the temptation to overstuff your offers with an unreasonable workload or excess freebies due to sticker shock at your own price. This is a surprisingly normal thing for entrepreneurs to struggle with. You'll also have to have the confidence to schedule your work availability in alignment with your creative cycles and capacity. Like, if you're not a morning person, don't take 3 years like I did to stop letting people book you really early in the morning, even if you're on the West Coast and they're on the East Coast. You'll also need the boundaries with yourself to take adequate time off to ensure you're rested and resourced enough to deliver your best work, even if you are scared about money. Even if you're having money stress, you still need to rest. You still need downtime. You still need time to regain your energy, your resource yourself emotionally and creatively. Still need time off. You'll also need to have the boundaries with yourself to not just internally notice the boundary, but to actually communicate what your boundaries are with others. In person, yes. In client calls, yes. But in your marketing, your sales systems and processes, your customer care, your client interactions, you'll have to spend some time thinking and reflecting and getting real about your boundaries and then building them into your business. So preempting problem spots. Preempting problem spots because you reflected on where you've needed boundaries and haven't implemented them before and what that cost you. So now you're willing to deal with them up front before the problem so that you can be less thrown off your game by this stuff, even if it's uncomfortable to look at this. You will need the resilience, the accountability to your vision, to your business, to yourself, to hold firm to your boundaries, even when someone doesn't like them, which is very uncomfortable for folks such as myself that are recovering people pleasers. Now here's a biggie. You will also need the courage, the confidence, and the accountability to your vision to decide that money alone does not qualify someone to work with you. Because even if they're paying top dollar, if they are a pain in the ass, if they are sucking your energy away from your other clients, from the work you want to do, if you are constantly stressing out about them, even if they are paying that it is not worth the money, it is not worth the drain on your resources, it is not worth the deviation away from your big picture vision for your business. Because I know your big picture vision for your business is not having to do work for people you don't enjoy, who stress you out, who drain you. That's not in the vision. That's not part of the fantasy. And then there are also other non-negotiables that are equally as valid, especially those that protect your mental health and work-life balance. You can say no to money that causes you to go against your values or your well-being in any way. And this does not preclude your ability to make money. It's not going to hurt your bottom line because it protects your ability to focus on, to be creative, to get your work out there, the kind of work you actually want to do for the people you actually want to do it for the price you actually want to do it for. You will also need the boundary with yourself that you are not going to follow along with any unaligned best practice, expert advice, notions of professionalism, or even leaders' influence. Even if you respect the source of this advice, this influence, this you have to do this, so say them type thing, because you will need to be the CEO that is a part of the vision, that is a part of the fantasy, that is the sort of person that can hold, has capacity for the sort of money, sales, clients, recognition, following, accolades that you are trying to call in. That version of you trusts the fuck out of herself. She trusts herself and what she knows is right for her business, her work, her people, her vision, enough to be able to say, no, that feels unaligned. Thank you. I respect your opinion, but here's what I will be doing instead. You have got to get to the place where you can do that, or you are going to be continually directed off the track of your vision and onto the path of someone else's, which is going to throw your shit off. So, this stuff I would classify as shadow work for sure. It is so rewarding. There is such a big payoff, but it is uncomfortable to look at this stuff. It is uncomfortable to implement these changes at first. The challenge is that the only way you'll have and enforce business boundaries, the business boundaries you need to get that big picture vision for your business, is if you actually believe that you are allowed to have these boundaries and believe that there are enough aligned clients out there who will happily respect your boundaries and jump at the chance to work for you and hand over their money for the honor. This belief work does come in direct opposition to what many of our trauma histories taught us to believe about ourselves, the world, and our place in it. So whether you've survived a toxic family, abusive relationships, oppression due to racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, classism, or the other isms and phobias, or all of the above, you've had a lot of poisonous conditioning that you are quote unquote less than, quote unquote undeserving, and that the best you can hope for is simply to survive shitty but bearable realities. Again, this is not part of our fantasy. This is not our big picture vision for our business. So we gotta unravel these harmful beliefs and replace them with healthier ones through practice, repetition, and reward. That is why it is so important to do this work in supportive, affirming community. Community that will affirm your right to boundaries and your worthiness in having them met. Community that will celebrate each step you make in that direction. Now, if you do not yet have such community or would like to grow yours, you are more than welcome to mine. Starting Wednesday, October 30th, 2024, I will be teaching you how to weave boundaries that protect your money, capacity, time, and vision into your offers, your pricing, your systems, and your marketing. We will meet for a total of 4 Wednesdays where I will teach you exactly how to do it, then answer questions so you can implement the lesson immediately into your own business. You can register for the Business Boundaries course right now for $9.99. The price increases to $19.99 on Tuesday, October 22nd. That is, it's $10 right now, going up to $20 on Tuesday. So definitely a bargain. My Business Boundaries course registrants will also be gifted access for the entire month of November 2024 to my beloved squad of excellently eccentric entrepreneurs for whom I serve as marketing confidence cheerleader. As a guest in the squad, you will receive access to our marketing masterclasses, business labs, live group coaching call, and our private Facebook community so you can ask questions and receive support in between Business Boundaries classes, which is, I think, super helpful this November as a lot of us are doing Black Friday sales. We might be returning to families of origin for the holidays. We might be running into folks who still see us as a past version of ourselves who was less boundaried or didn't know they were allowed to have boundaries. And so we might need some extra support anyway around boundaries at this time. So if that's you, definitely sign up, because when you work on boundaries in your business, you are also working on boundaries in the rest of your life. It impacts everything, and it protects your big picture vision for your business, but also for you, how you want to spend your precious time, the skills you have to preempt areas of your life where you have historically or habitually had boundary violations, so that you know what to do when there is a conflict. You know how to stand up for yourself. You know how to respectfully communicate. You know how to enforce your boundaries. You have that confidence and the community support to be able to do it. So when there are conflicts that arise around boundaries, and some people show themselves out of our worlds because they are not willing to be in relationship with us when we have boundaries, when we have community support, when we have mentorship, when we have like-minded folks with similar values who are motivated similarly, who also have big picture visions for their lives, then people seeing themselves out because they're unaligned doesn't leave you alone. It doesn't leave you isolated, because you've found your chosen community. You've found people that will keep you encouraged and hyped up and accountable to your own vision, your own dreams. So I would love, love, love to see you there. The link for how to register right now is in the show notes. Feel free to message me or email me if you have any questions. Happy to chat. Other than that, don't forget to leave me a 5-star review on this podcast because you know you love it. That's all for today. Love you. Bye.